Where that you work, Mid-South World Class, obviously the Memphis territory, Crockett, I think that would be the limit. I don't know how much it would have happened after that point. What fan base threw the most beer?
Oh, God. It didn't depend on promotion. It depended on towns. And there were towns that, for whatever reason, because of the layout of the building, because of the lighting, because of the security or lack thereof of competent security, the fans were more accustomed and more comfortable with trying to get away with shit. And like I've said, even if you had good security, when you had a dark building, because again, Jesus Christ, the people now, when they see the arena for the WWE or TNA or AEW set up or whatever, well, I was going down the list and I accidentally remembered put TNA in as number 2. Everything wasn't lit up like that. You see that maybe the old YouTube videos or the pictures, they turned the lights down, whether the building was full or not, because it was wrestling. You had ring lights. So when you're walking to and from, in a lot of cases, they didn't turn the house lights up in between the matches. So then people would throw fucking all kinds of shit because they could get away with it and run off in the dark. And I meant Tulsa was the worst for fan interaction and also for throwing beer. And believe me, every single fucking wrestling fan in Tulsa for Mid-South Wrestling had consumed a or several beers. And it seemed like they'd want to keep a hold of them, but they would throw them like crazy. But 80 miles down the road in Oklahoma City, the myriad new building lit up, security, more room around the ring because it was a bigger facility to begin with. And there you almost felt safe. That's the safest place that I encountered in Mid-South Wrestling, and 80 miles from the most dangerous. So it just depended.
What about in Dallas? They like to throw their beers?
Yes. Well, in Dallas, again, the sportatorium and the beer was cheap because they had their own concession stand. And yes, you'd have cups flying, and at least with beer, they didn't put it on ice because I didn't mind the beer as much as they drink the soft drink before the ice melted and then wad it up, and it's like a rock. And I'll tell you, one time I had pink eye in Michigan. We're on a tour in Michigan. and I had this fucking pink eye, and God, it was driving me crazy. And the boys put me in the back seat and said, "Don't touch us." All right. But we left the ring. Was it Grand Rapids or might have been Saginaw? Step out, and the first thing that happens is I get hit in the face with a fucking cold beer. Boom. And that's the only time that my eye didn't itch for 4 days for about 10 minutes. I guess that does something when if you got pink eye, throw beer in your eye and see what happens.
I would not suggest doing that. Well, go ahead.
Well, and then, there's been a couple of times. That's one of the times that we had one of the riots in Tulsa was I got blinded with beer first and I couldn't see. And that's when the people figured, okay, we've got him. He's blind. And the boys had to peel him off of me and blah, blah, blah. So, but, drinks, drink cups, beer, if they just wanted to make a disgusting or a statement that they were disgusted, they'd throw the popcorn boxes and all the popcorn would fly out. That wasn't going to hurt anybody, but they just, fuck. That was kind of like an fuck you. A visual fuck you. Here's the popcorn. But you could make a goddamn large fucking arena drink cup full of ice. You could make that dangerous, especially if you got hit in the face with it. And there were buildings that would still sell fucking cans back in those days.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yes, and bottles had pretty much gone by the wayside by the time I got into business, but that was a thing in the 60s, especially, and before was bottles. And then you were always in trouble with people throwing things if your method of going back to the locker room was a breezeway underneath general admission seats, like at the end of the arena, but there's the breezeway you go through and there's people seated above you, because then they can just drop shit down on you. And oh goddamn, who was it that actually got a fucking fire extinguisher on the top of the head, dropped from like 20 feet up? One of the fans took it off the fucking wall and timed it when the heel's going underneath the deal, dropped it straight down. I'm trying to, goddamn it, somebody out there will remind me who that was, because it fucked him up pretty good.
Yeah, that'll do it.
But that's why there's another thing that I hated about the building in Tulsa was they had their own parking area, the building for, employees and etc. was down a ramp and enclosed in the back where the fans couldn't walk down there, but it was on a lower level and there was a parking garage next to it, and the fans could line part of the area up above it, so we couldn't ever park our car under that area, because if the people saw us getting in it after the matches, they could drop bricks and who knows what the fuck else straight down. So we'd have to either park at the other end or have one of the building stooges go and get our car and pull it up to where it was out of the chucking range.